course. Our textbook is the Astrology of the Old Testament, or the Lost Word Regained. So y'all holla at me. All right. The lost word, of course, is astrology. Okay. It's lost because it's hidden. Okay. It's there in the ancient Ibaryath, but it's hidden from you. In other words, they're not translating the verses honestly. They're hiding the astrology for you, okay? Excuse me. Let's pick it back up where we left off last class, which is page 105. Page 105, so now we're talking about the apocryphal books. And the reason why they were taken out of the modern Bible, or what we call the Bible today rather, is because they contain the keys to a lot of mysteries. And these mysteries show you what? These mysteries reveal the lost word. And that's astrology, astronomy, astrology, okay? That's what we're going to deal with. That's where we left off last class. So let's continue. Page 105, about halfway down. The description, then comes a description of their persecutions. This is the house of Yasharallah when they were in Kemet, all right? When they were in Kemet. So let's read. And deliverance from Egypt and return to Palestine, or the hill country. Now, y'all should remember, hill is astrological, it's referencing Sagittarius, okay? So let's go back to page 100. Refresh your memory on this. The character, or the key concepts for Sagittarius. The zodiacal sign Sagittarius in astrology signifies, so I'm going to skip down to it, okay, signifies high places, upper chambers, or high above the ground, and the highest peaks, okay? That is Sagittarius, all right? So let's keep that in mind as we go. Abram, A-B-R-A-A-M, this is Abram, or what is it, scholars? What is it? Ab-Ram, the original, the generator, father, Ram, Aries, the Ram. Okay, Aries, the beginning of the natural year according to modern astrologers, but Aries, right ascension. Okay, y'all, so when the sun begins to, S-O-N sun, S-U-N sun, they're the same thing. When they begin to spring northward, remember they're changing direction from the summer solstice around June 22nd, or June 25th, actually. The sun begins to fall southward. And then at December 22nd, it reaches its lowest point in the southern part of space. And then from the 22nd through the 24th, it's moving horizontally. And then finally, on December 25th, it springs northward. It changes direction and springs northward. Okay, and it's springing, ascending northward until it gets to the equinoctial point, which is March 22nd, right? This is Aries, okay? Aries, all right? So right ascension, Aries. R space A, right ascension, Aries. Ab, original, father, the generator, Ram, okay? And so what do we do with this? This takes us into the Hiram Abiff story. The High Ram, right, springing northward, the High Ram, and Biff, y'all, Biff has reference to Taurus, which is the next zodiac sign, okay? So the ram the ram is the head. Let me see if I can show y'all an image on this. The ram is the head. So Aries is the head. And then thought, now thought, of course, is the first Hermetic law, mentalism. All right, and then the bull, Apis, or Baal, Apis, which is, when you look at the ancient Ibaryath pictographs, I wish I had my book, y'all. I could show y'all the pictograph for the bull. It's actually the American bison. It is a non-hybrid. It's a natural bull. Okay, the other bull that you see, like the Wall Street bull, etc., that's a hybrid. All right, that's a hybrid. So now we're talking about bulls. We're talking about leadership, power, and strength. Leadership, power, and strength. All right, leader, power, and strength. So let me see if I can find this for you. Page 5. Page 5. All right. So on page 5 it reads here regarding Abraham, R, A, M, and Ab from father or generator. Original. Okay? Original. It is the due east or gate of gold. Why the gate of gold? Because there are 4 gates, north, south, east, and west. The gate of gold because that's the sun. So when the sun is in Aries, we are now entering into the kingdom of the heavens, the royal arc. So all of the constellations, all of the zodiac signs above, Aries and above, this is the kingdom of the heavens, all the way down to Libra. All right? So here is the vernal equinox, here's the spring equinox. So all of the constellations above the equinoctial points, this is the kingdom of the heavens. All right? This is the royal arc. Okay? So right ascension meridian. All right? So now again, Ab from father or generator or original. It is the due east or gate of gold or from Orient. From Orient. Okay, y'all? So let's go back. Let me see if I can find the zodiac sign. There's an image in this book that has the zodiac signs of the body parts. So the head is the ram. Okay, so the high ram, that's thought, right? Thought, thinking. The first Hermetic law. Okay, so let me, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can show you guys, scholars, so you can see this. Hiram Abith. The high ram. Abith. The high ram, or Aries and Taurus. Okay, Aries and Taurus. So if anyone disagrees, that's fine. I'm not doing this religiously. I'm just telling y'all what I know. So if you disagree, it's okay to disagree. There's nothing to be angry about, and there's no reason for you to question my sincerity because you see something differently than I do, or maybe you read something different than I read. All right? So I'm not making any of this stuff up. I'm telling y'all what I have learned. Okay? All right. So I see there's nothing but clowns and gestures in the chat, behaving like children in the chat. Okay, you boys and girls, be good, okay? Samuel Ponce, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the other one. Samuel Ponce has some good comments. He writes about those books they have hidden, astral projection, lucid dreaming. Absolutely, these are faculties of the mind that we're actually born with that are dormant and therefore atrophied because we don't use them. Okay? Because we don't use them. Samuel Ponce writes, if you knew what's going on in the world, you would be sad. Let me see. So let me try to find this image, y'all. All right, I think I found it. Oh, this is good. This is coming out of this image is from the devil's pulpit. Give me 1 second. So here y'all see the ram, right? Can y'all see the ram? That's Aries. And then, so this is the high ram. Y'all see it's higher? Hold on. Uh-oh. So the high ram, that's the head, that's thought. Okay? So Aries, the ram, Hiram Abeh, thought, hermetically speaking, that is thought. Why thought? Mentalism, right? The mind is thought. Thought, we can express or experience thought in images or words, right? So this is the high ram, and this is, if y'all do the etymology, the bull, this is the Abeh. The high ram, Abeh. The high ram, and then the next zodiac sign is Taurus. Okay? So thought, the first Hermetic law, the other 6 Hermetic laws emanate from mind or thought. And then the next zodiac sign, of course, is Apis the bull. Taurus, y'all see it? Leader. Okay, leader, power, strength, etc. If y'all want all of the meanings of each of the pictographs in Ancient Ibaryath, you should buy 911 Ibaryath Rescue, the purple book. The link is in the description area of the video. It's going to give you all of the pictographs. It'll give you the meaning of each pictograph. Like we just went through, as far as the bull, leadership, etc., there's a lot. If you want all the details, then you should subscribe to 101 Ancient Ibaryath, the 101 Ancient Ibaryath streaming course, okay, y'all? You can get all of that. So this is man and the zodiac signs associated with each of the body parts. Everybody sees that? Okay, so this is Hiram Abeh, the Hiram Abeh. All right, so y'all go search out the etymological meaning of the Abeh, and you're gonna find out that it means bull. Where are we? 105, right? 105. So these kind of things are fascinating to me. Very, very fascinating to me. So Hiram Abeh, y'all, is actually also the sun. I've read that Hiram Abeh is the sun sun. Okay? Is actually the sun sun. So that being the case, we, the autochthonous men and women, are what? We're also what? The son, sun. Some of us have wombs, some of us don't. But that means we are the Christ. Or as the Reverend Ike used to say, Christ in you and Christ in me. God in you, God in me. Y'all see the connection here? Samuel Punce writes Scorpio. Scorpio would be the private area. Zodiac signs, why do they align with people and how they act? Do you think there really is a correlation? Absolutely there is. And you have to remember, this has been done, how you doing, man? This has been done over thousands of years, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of years that we have been on this planet. Our ancestors have looked at this and honed it down to a science. Okay, and it's not from what I've read, a system of beliefs. They studied the magnetic effects of each of the zodiac signs on personality, on events, etc. Now, we don't see it because the Catholics, when they waged war against us, okay, so their goal was to remove these sciences from our awareness. That's why even now, when you start reading about the medieval times, you'll quickly see that they were exterminating the Moorish scientists, those who taught geometry, those who taught anatomy, those who taught astronomy and astrology. Okay, and then they reduced everything down to a religion. But a couple hundred years ago, this was common knowledge. Okay, it only seems way out there because we have no knowledge about it. Hasnal Taylor writes, do you can predict in future? Well, the prophets did, right? The prophets did, and they used astrology. How did they use it? They were able to harness or download the cosmic energy, process it, and then reconstruct the meaning. Hasnal writes, did you seem... Okay, Hasnal, you're asking... Samuel Ponce writes, I'm listening, but I've come to the conclusion we are God because the universe is alive, consciousness like us, so we are one. Well, absolutely, we are consciousness. Consciousness is the first Hermetic law, mentalism. The other six, Hermetic laws are derived or have their origin in the sixth, which is consciousness. So anything else in the physical realm is consciousness expressing itself at a particular vibration. Okay? At a particular vibration. And that's all it is. So consciousness, there's all consciousness, all awareness. Remember, there's nothing new under the sun. So whatever was, whatever is, and whatever will be is already there. If you understand how to download and process that information, well, then you can use it. This is what the prophets did. But we were taught in religion that it was an external deity. Whatever that solar deity's name is, that they would talk to, and then this God would tell them the future. Okay? So they made this external God up. Samuel writes, frequency, vibration, and energy make this universe. Absolutely, magnetism. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. So, but it's interesting to me that people have an easier time believing that there's some external God who can tell you what's going to happen in the future. But yet, Samuel Ponce, right, I feel like you're saying the truth. It is the truth. It's natural law. It's natural law remixed into religion. And what I'm here to do is get rid of the remix by showing it. Okay, not preaching, but by showing it using linguistics, etymology, grammar rules, astronomy and astrology, history, secular history, and mythological history. Showing it. And that's what I'm doing. Okay, Samuel Ponce writes, I'm not very smart, but I almost always get a feeling when someone is being honest and when people are being BSers. Well, I appreciate that. I also have that capacity well developed. So now y'all, let's keep going. See, some people, they don't want the responsibility of doing everything themselves. They want to believe that somebody else, this external God, is going to do it for them. Why? Because in many cases, they're cowards. They're afraid to do it on their own because they're afraid what the hybrid will do to them, what they might lose. Y'all hear me? That's really what it is. So if you say I'm going to wait on God, what you're really saying is I'm afraid. I'm not going to do anything. And it's a good excuse, right? I'm going to wait on God. That's a good excuse. God going to do it. All right? And now you get to cover over your cowardice. Anyway, let's continue. Abram, as Joseph writes, came from the east gate, right? The gate of gold, and carried the science of astrology to Egypt and was a Chaldean. All the Hebrew Israelites will tell you in a hot second that Abraham taught the Egyptians all the sciences that they know, so that would include astrology, which means they admit that Abraham was an astrologist and that he practiced astrology. Y'all hear me? They admit it. Also, Joel and the Jews call Abraham or Abram or Abraham their father. So the father of the Israelites was an astrologer. Huh? And y'all saying that astrology is wicked and evil? And their God is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So their God, Abraham's God, loved him, chose him, selected him, did a promise, a covenant promise with an astrologer who is evil, who is wicked, who is satanic. Y'all see this don't make sense, right? It don't make sense. The only way it makes sense is what? Well, there's nothing wrong with astrology, right? That's the only way it makes sense. Otherwise, you're in a pot of doo-doo trying to explain why would God choose Abraham. Take care, man. It's another expat. He looks like he's from one of the Arab countries. Where was it? But now you have to explain why would the Tetragrammaton enter or give a promised covenant to a wicked man who practiced astrology. Samuel Ponce writes, it's like they switched the truths. Absolutely. See, Samuel, look up Jeremiah 8, verse 8. In my opinion, the best version of the Bible to read that in is in the, I don't remember, but go to Bible Hub and read that verse, Jeremiah 8, verse 8. It says exactly what you just said. All right? The scribes wrote lies into the book of the law and they made it into a religion. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it says. Okay? So that astrology comes directly down from Jewish or Chaldean ancestry. Now, scholars, Jewish is neither a nationality nor a race, and there is no such thing as race. Jewish is a religion. So let's correct the author. Okay? So there's no, so let's read this correctly. So that astrology comes directly down from Judaism religion or Chaldean ancestry. Now, ancestry is nationality. All right? We don't deal with mystery religions or any religion involving these secular and solar deities. Okay, Samuel Ponce writes, how can you say we are wise, for we have the law of the Lord, when actually the lying pen of the scribes have handled it falsely? There you go. They wrote lies into it. If you keep reading down the whole, what's the name? I don't remember the name of the version. Samuel writes, wild stuff, I looked it up. Yeah, if you look at it in the, there's another version of the Bible. Well, in each of those, it'll tell you that they changed the book of the law. They wrote lies into the book of the law. Okay, and changed it into a book of rituals and ceremonies or something like that. But by definition, that's religion. Okay, so we went, so we had a book of natural law. Astronomy, astrology, those words were used synonymously. The Hermetic Laws, all right, the Hermetic Laws, and then law principles, constitutional principles. That was changed through the lying pen, right? The Hollywood, the magic wand. So they changed that natural law into religious doctrine. And then they went about exterminating all of our legal scholars, our scholars in geometry, scholars in astronomy and astrology. Samuel writes, it's only one race, the human race. No, Samuel, human, no. Humans are monsters in law. Google search Han Uman. Samuel, Google search Han Uman, H-A-N-U-M-A-N. And then look up human in a law dictionary. Okay, so when you Google search Han Uman, you're going to find a half chimpanzee, half man being. This is the created creature, the work output of our ancient ancestors, the Elohim of Genesis chapter 1. Okay? So when the Han Uman, Samuel Ponce, so our spiritual beings having a human, that to me, that's getting in the area of doctrine. I don't deal in doctrine. What I will say to this is that there is a difference between a human and a man. A human is a monster and is non-descendable in law. It has no birthright. It has no birthrights. It cannot inherit land. Samuel writes, what do I look up again? Han Uman, H-A-N-U-M-A-N. You're going to see that it is a chimpanzee or monkey man with the tail and all. I am on time, writes, good day, King. Islam and Shalom, Assalamu alaikum. So Han Uman is non-descendable. Again, this is the Genesis chapter 1 created creature that our ancestors, in other words, this is the Yacubian experiments that were done. So Samuel writes, yeah, I see that. So now when you look up human in a law dictionary, it's going to say monster. And that it's non-descendable. It can't inherit land. It cannot inherit land. Whereas the man in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, is thought made manifest from the land. If you look up land in a law dictionary, you will see more. M-O-O-R, more. The originator, the original, the father, the progenitor. Thought made manifest from the land. And it's a well-established principle in law that land is the substance and subject matter of the law. Therefore, Moors are the substance and subject matter of the law. So when they took Moors out of their nationality, Samuel writes, wow, that's wild. They showed a race called saying they had tails and looked at the full moon, and they turned into a monster ape. What? That's wild. Truth is stranger than fiction. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we see this in Hollywood. They gave us glimpses of it when they did those Planet of the Apes movies. Okay, I am writes, meaning creature like. Okay, Samuel writes, I am not a human. Absolutely not. See, man is the substance and subject matter of the law. Okay, man is descendable. That means you can inherit. You're the rightful heir. This is why in North America they put you in a corporate dead status to steal your inheritance from you. Y'all see that? Because you're not a human. You are a man in autochthonous Moor. You're the rightful heir. So that's the whole thing with the nom de guerre, the ens legis, and all of these hidden contracts, right? That's the whole thing about race. Race is a distraction. Hello. Race is a distraction to direct your attention away from nationality, away from birthright. Y'all get it? So this is the magic wand. This is the Hollywood, the magic wand. This is Jeremiah 8, verse 8. All right? They use this pen to create a false reality in your brain. All right? This is what they do. And they use connotative linguistics. Jesus told us this. The historical Jesus told us this. He said, I speak to them in parables. I'm paraphrasing. I speak to them in parables so that although they have eyes to see, yeah, you see the words, you see the text, they'll never perceive. And although they have ears, you heard the sermon. You heard it 1,000,000 times. You'll never understand. Why? Well, Jesus again tells you. Jesus said his reason for uncoupling your eyes and ears from your mind. Here's his reason. So that you will never have a chance to repent and be saved. Okay, now if you accept, according to Christianity, you are born a sinner. That means you are born a debtor. That means you're born into what? Bondage. Christianity is commercial. We went through this in previous classes. Christianity is commercial. So your status as a Christian, Hebrew Israelite, or Jew, these are religions. Your status is a bondman or a bondwoman. You're under the authority of maritime admiralty jurisdiction, or in other words, Oannes and the Dogon. Okay, which are Raphaim that have expired in the flesh, and now they've taken on the body or the life form of a mermaid, half fish, half man. Okay? Christianity is Pisces, the fish, right? Jesus is born on December 25th, which is Capricorn, the goat, which is corporations, hierarchy, right? Being corporate men. Corporation, Christianity, religion, it's corporation. That's commerce. Corpse. That's civilly dead status. Everybody see this? So when you are not in your proper person, you are claiming to be anything but who your ancient foremothers and forefathers are, then you're out of your proper person. Especially if you run around here talking about you're black or Negro, colored, African American, Latino, whatever it is in your part of the world. Okay, you've admitted that you are non-descendable and that you are property, chattel, cattle. All right. So anyway, y'all, let's continue. Also, Samuel writes, Starbucks got the siren, aka mermaid. They have it on the cup. So when you sip out of it, you're sipping on her private. Look at the logo and see the subliminal of you. Don't believe me? Yeah, I know that's a mermaid. Okay, that's a mermaid. So the mermaids are Raphaim that have transitioned out of the life form that could exist on Earth. But the Raphaim are the ongoing generations of the Nephilim. Okay, yo? Okay, and where do the Nephilim go after they expire in the physical flesh form on the earth? They go where? They go under the water, the world of the dead, underneath the waters. Hence, maritime Admiralty law, the law of the sea brought on land, because they want to keep ruling. Samuel Ponce writes, John 3:16. How do you feel about it? Jesus is not a historical person. That's my answer. There never was a Jesus like you read in the New Testament. Didn't exist. And the entire New Testament is astrotheology. It's a made-up story. All right. Now, is there history, some truth in that? Absolutely. It contains a lot of our culture and heritage in there. But remember, it's remixed, made up into stories. Right? It's a lot of commercial law. A lot of principles of commerce in the New Testament. Samuel writes, so Yeshua is alive. So Yeshua never lived. Yeshua is the S-U-N Son personified. Yeshua is the S-U-N Son personified. Samuel, I want to invite you to study all of the videos that I did on the Devil's Pulpit. There are about 136 or more videos on the Devil's Pulpit. Watch all of those videos and you'll get all the answers to these questions. Okay? And to fully answer all of those questions, it would take hours and hours and hours and hours. Samuel writes, is that why I have such a hard time with Jesus Christ? But I do believe in a higher power, which is the universe. Well, Samuel, I don't know you, but what I can tell you is Psalms 82:6. All of you are God's sons of the Most High. Okay, so now, if you're an autochthonous Moor, you are thought made manifest from the soil. So if you're thought made manifest, who are you? Only you can answer that question. I know who I is. I'm thought made manifest. I know who I am. I'm eternal. I've not been subject to birth. I'm not subject to death. And I always am and I always will be. I am, I be, I exist. Okay, so in my existence, I transform from one form to another. Okay, that's the Hermetic Law. I'm sorry, not the Hermetic Law. Hold on. That's the second law of thermodynamics. Energy, which is consciousness, cannot be created or destroyed. Now, if energy cannot be created or destroyed, that means energy always was and it always will be. Right? It only what? Transforms. So transforms. That takes us back to what? The Hermetic law of vibration. Right? I am says, what about Horus? Horus is also the sun sun. Horus, all the solar deities are the same. So Jesus is Horus. Samuel writes facts. It can only be transformed. That's right. Period. So we are eternal. We're eternal. That's why we are the law. Y'all hear me? That's why we are the law. And that's why the punishment or the corrective signals that the universe sends you when you are out of harmony with nature are so extreme, because you are the law. Okay? So it's giving you a strong signal to correct. Okay? So this is all science, y'all. When I say science, I mean it's all natural law, natural phenomena, and those powers that govern, that dictate natural law. Okay? Remix with Hollywood. Remix with the magic wand, the pen, Jeremiah 8:8, into a religion. And then they threw superstition on that. Fear and superstition. Okay? As the icing on the cake. So that astrology comes directly down from the Jewish or Chaldean ancestry. There is no such thing as a Jewish ancestry. Jewish is religion. Judaism is religion. It came into being somewhere around the end or shortly after the alleged Babylonian captivity. Okay, y'all? And their God, now remember, God is also a remix. God is also a remix. God is Sirius, the dog star, the canine star. Right? Dog spelled backward. It's anagram God. Toto in the Wizard of Oz. Exposes the little pale hybrid. Behind the curtain, pulling the levers, right? Creating images that were not real, and creating sounds that were not real, that scared the daylights out of everybody in Oz. Huh? Y'all see it? Eyes to see but can't perceive, ears to hear but cannot understand. Everybody see that? False reality. Maritime Admiralty law, false reality. Fiat, false reality. Okay? And Toto exposed. Toto exposed the Wizard of Oz. Everybody see? So now you have nature, natural was real, in which you are the master, you are the adept. Okay, well, you're supposed to be the adept. And then you have a fake dead corporate system. Maritime Admiralty law brought on the land. Okay, where you are civilly dead. You have no right, no birthright, no birthrights. Okay, you're a bondman or a bondwoman. Connotatively, you're the slave. In reality, you're the heir. You're the rightful heir, the rightful beneficiary. You're the nobility. So which one do you want? See, which one do you want? Which one do you want? See, if you want to get out of this, are you afraid of what the hybrid is going to do to you? If you Take back your birthright. And it's as simple as that. Samuel writes, what was the verse about Psalm 81 saying we are God? Oh, Psalms 82:6. All of you are God's sons of the Most High. JC said the same thing. JC quoted that verse. Okay? Okay, now let's continue. And their God, so God is also an inserted word in the Bible. So this word God is a relatively recent word. It's not ancient, okay, y'all? And their God is the Lord of hosts. So here they're playing mind games with you. All right? They made up a word called God and then threw it back in what's supposed to be ancient text. You can't do that. All right? You're not supposed to do that. This word God, y'all know God is the dramatic deity Odin, Woden. Y'all know that? So when y'all say God, and y'all get mad at me, accuse me of this and that about astrology, devils and demons, and blaspheme, but then you turn around and start talking about God. And in your ignorance, every time you say God, you're invoking Odin, the dramatic deity, Woden. And Woden is supposed to be Thoth, the Egyptian deity. So now, you're breaking your own law. Right? You're not supposed to let the names of these gods come out of your mouth. And here you are pretending or thinking you're so righteous, but you're ignorant. And a sinner of sinners. I know God is a dog spelled, I know that God is dog spelled backwards. Also, Allah is God. No, this notion of God is a new concept. So God is not only dog spelled backward. Think about that. Your God is a dog. A dog licks another dog's butthole. A dog is a filthy animal. Dogs will vomit and then eat their vomit. Dogs are filthy animals. Samuel writes, is it kind of like saying amen? Absolutely, because amen is Amun, Amun-Ra. So whenever they say that, they're offering a prayer to the Kemetic god Amun, Amin, however you want to pronounce it, doesn't matter. It is what it is. It's a Kemetic deity. And probably, most likely, a Raphaim. But that's at the lowest level of analysis. This is at the lowest level of analysis. All of these gods have one common origin, which is astrology. They're solar deities. So astrology is the template. You got 12 constellations. Our ancestors recognized 10 constellations and the sun, sun. Okay? Now Apollo, Amun-Ra, Jupiter, etc. These are all Hercules. These are all solar deities. Okay, the constellations, the 12 apostles. So they're all coming. All of these deities where there's a virgin mother. Samuel writes, that's crazy. In this show called Yugai, they had that Egyptian god of Ra as a Yugi Okar. Was all coming from the same astrological template. A template, rather. They just changed it based upon what part of the world they were in. What nation and what culture. And they just adjusted the template. You know, much of the same way if let's say you're going to write an advertisement. Okay, so it'll be in English in Canada It'll be in whatever. In India, it's going to be in whatever local language, and you're going to adjust it to the local custom and needs. Well, they did the same thing with astrology. They just adjusted it based upon where in the world they were at and what they needed in order to maximize their domination. Samuel writes, with two other gods, obelisk, the tormentor and silver and sky dragon, they have been programming us since kids. This is true. The show originating from Japan, now worldwide. Okay, y'all, let's keep going. All right, and their God is the Lord of hosts, a grand central and universal deity who dwelleth between the cherubs, a fixed cross, eternal in the heavens. So let me refresh y'all memory on this. So Samuel writes, is that what they did with Jesus Christ? Change and make it fit depending on the part of the world? Absolutely. Absolutely. Jesus is Mercury, is Buddha. Absolutely. Think about it. Isn't that what you would do? And now you can more easily control everything, right? Instead of coming up with different religions for different parts of, no, what you do, you use one template. Change the names of the people, change the names of the locations, change some of the details. But the essence of it stays the same. Now you know, and you can control much easier, yet better management. Samuel writes, change and make it fit depending on the part of the world. Absolutely. I forgot what I was going to get. I want to show y'all. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but I want you guys to see this and remember it. So I'm going to reference back to it. I think it's important. The grand central sun that dwelleth between the cherubim. Okay, so here we are. Hold on. This music is horrible. I mean, it's like extremely irritating. I wonder how, I don't see how they enjoyed that. I don't know if y'all can hear that music, but it's nerve-wracking. I hear it. It's really irritating me. Hold on. Okay. You know, it's like really, really fast, and there's no rhythm or beat. It's just fast. Make you nervous. So y'all take a look. So here in the center, this is the regular Christian cross, right? So this is the vernal equinox, the fall equinox, summer solstice, winter solstice. Okay, so vernal equinox is the beginning of spring, first day of spring, around between March 19th and 22nd. The autumn or fall equinox is going to be around September 19th through the 22nd. The summer solstice, which is going to be around June 19th to 22. And then the winter solstice, which is going to be around December 17, 19 to December 22. Okay, y'all? So this is the regular Christian cross that you see on a church, all right? Or you see Jesus strung on this cross, all right? Crucified. Now, y'all see the X? Can y'all see the X? This X right here. This is the Canaanite Phoenician or the Phoenician Canaanite Ta, the last pictograph in our alphabet. The Greeks call it Tau. Okay, so for the Greeks, Tau. For the Phoenician Canaanite, the ancient Ibaryath is Ta. So at the tip of this, This is Leo. Oh, wait a minute. Not Leo. No, this is the bull. The head of a bull. Yeah, the head of a bull. This is Leo over here, the head of a lion. This is Scorpio, the head of an eagle. And over here, this is Aquarius, the head of a man. Okay? So this, of course, is when the springtime began in Taurus. That puts us at the time when the house of Yasharallah or Israel were allegedly in Egypt. Okay? When they were free and through bondage. Okay, so the zodiacal age called Taurus. Y'all heard? Leo, Scorpio, the eagle, and then Aquarius, the head of a man. And these correlate to Ezekiel chapter 1. All right, these are the 4 living creatures. Also in Revelation, I believe it's chapter 4. So these are the cherubim, right, y'all? The bull, the head of a bull, the head of a lion, the head of an eagle, and the head of a man. So these are the cherubim. Now, where each of these lines intersect right here, this is where the sun is, the central sun. That's why it's called central, right? The central sun. Y'all see that? And it never moves from the center. Is that clear? So Samuel writes, yeah, I see the X. All right, y'all? So the X is the Phoenician Canaanite or the Ibaryath Tav. All right? So y'all remember that. So God dwelleth between the cherubim. God is the S-U-N sun, the central fire. Okay, y'all? The central fire. So this will always come up. If you remember what we just went through, you'll be able to understand a lot. Okay? You'll see this always coming up. All right, let's continue. And their God is the Lord of hosts. So the hosts, y'all, the hosts are the heavenly bodies. Okay, and their God is the Lord of hosts. So this is saying that the S-U-N sun is the most prominent, and controls the rest of the stars and planets. That's all that's saying. Okay, it's not talking about a deity that has a personality and a history. A grand central and universal deity, that's the S-U-N sun, who dwelleth between the cherubim, a fixed cross, eternal in the heavens. That's what I just went through. Okay, y'all? That was remixed into this notion of a God that has a personality and a biography. Hope everybody sees that. We find the Jews for a long time governed by judges. Now, the Jews were not governed by judges. Jews didn't come around until Babylonian captivity or shortly after. That's when the Jews came in. Okay, so this is a Jeremiah 8:8 verse occurrence. There's no such thing as a Jew until then. Jew is a new word. There were bloodline. There were the tribes, the bloodline, the nations, okay? The house of Yasharallah. The nation, nationals, not religion, nationals. We find the nationals for a long time were governed by judges, meaning priests who used the Urim and Thummim and Ephod and used judicial astrology. So now, y'all, we got to learn. I don't know of anybody who's using judicial astrology, but it's my goal to learn judicial astrology. All right, so I'm beginning this effort by posting. I'm going to be posting soon, hopefully within the next couple days, a video about using planetary hours to harness, focus, and direct cosmic energy into the accomplishments of your goals and objectives in life. So planning, right? Planning and executing, using cosmic energy to plan and execute on your goals. Also electoral astrology, when to schedule, when to send out your writs, okay, or reschedule a case, etc., okay, or an alleged case rather. And mention is made, judges, i.e., okay, Judges, IV rather, Judges 4, verse 4, of Deborah. And mention is made of Deborah in Judges chapter 4, verse 4, a female prophetess, a female astrologer, a female seer, a female medium, who judged Israel at that time. Judges 4, verse 5, quote unquote. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Beth-El, Beth-El, in Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. Okay, y'all? Now, let me make mention, Hakim Bey. I learned this from Hakim Bey. Hakim Bey, I learned through one of his videos that the children of Israel, these are Jews, these are Yaqub's children. These are Yaqub's children. This is not the nation. Not the nation. Okay? So again, it's the magic wand, the Hollywood, okay? The Hollywood. Jeremiah 8, verse 8. Okay, so make the distinction, be aware. So the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. So let's get rid of the children of Israel. Okay, these are not Yaqub's children. Let's make it the nationals. Came up to her for judgment. Okay? All right, y'all? Y'all see that? There's a difference between nationality and religion. Completely different. Nationals are the rightful heirs. They're descendable. They can inherit. Religion has nothing to do with anything. Okay? Yaqub's children in law are monsters. This is the Han Uman. They're non-descendable. In the 39th chapter of Exodus, we have a description of the apron, which is the ephod, the girdle, which is a cable toe, C-A-B-L-E, space and then toe, T-O-W, and breastplate of judgment, with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, now the 12 tribes of Israel, that's the 12 nations, right? I'm sorry, not the 12 nations, but this would be the nationals. 12 tribes of Israel, 12 zodiac signs. Okay? All right? Bloodline. The apron was square, of fine linen, blue, purple, and scarlet, and gold thread was embroidered into it, as is the case today with all Masonic aprons of the ancient rites. The breastplate of judgment was a double square, a perfect lodge or two hemispheres on a plane surface or planosphere. That sounds like northern and southern hemisphere. And divided and divided into 12 houses of the sun. S-O-N. Divided into 12 houses of the sun. S-O-N. Well, 12 houses of the sun. S-U-N. That's the zodiac signs, right? Or 12 tribes of the sons of Jacob. You know what I'm thinking right now? I'm going to look into this to see if this is talking about the 12 tribes of the sons of Jacob, as in the 12 tribes of the sons of Yaqub. So is this talking about Yaqub? Is it talking about religion? Or is it talking about the national people or the nationals? Hold on, let me make a note. Do y'all see that? So I'm going to put some effort into determining whether or not these 12 tribes are talking about the Yaqubian Han Uman, Judaism, religion, or the nationals. It's not clear to me. So I need to research that out. Samuel writes, is what I was thinking. Yeah. Samuel writes is the 12 zodiac signs. Okay. So let's continue. We're on page 106 right now, y'all. We find the Bible mentioning various forms of divination. Y'all know divination is what? Divine, right? That it was the priest alone who used judgment. Wherever some perfect clairvoyance, y'all know clairvoyance is a natural faculty of the mind, or trance, wherever some perfect clairvoyance or trance mediums were found, viz., dreamers of dreams, they were also called prophets and prophetesses. For temple used and dedicated to the service of God. Capital G-O-D. So y'all remember capital G-O-D, that's what? That's a word of art. There is no capital letters. There are no capital letters, rather, in the ancient Ibaryath or Canaanite or Phoenician Canaanite language. Some people don't want to call it a language, but it had to be a language. They prefer script. Okay, y'all? So there is no capital G and lowercase g in God. They made that up. So we were indoctrinated to believe that if it's capital G, it's talking about the creator of the boundless universe. It's talking about our creator, right? But that's not true. Not true at all. There is no capital and there is no lowercase letter. Okay? So capital G distinguished from lowercase g. They just made it up. Okay? To create what? To create an image and a thought in your mind. And then having you live your life based upon that lie. A non-reality. See, you're in Oz. Samuel writes, what is the book you're reading? Samuel, there is a link to this book in my community post. It's called The Astrology of the Old Testament. And you can download it and print it. It's a PDF, a free PDF. Here it is. The Astrology of the Old Testament, or The Lost Word Regained, published in 1892. And the author is Carl Anderson. Oh, wow. Y'all know what I just realized? This should not be this way. Hold on. Why is this like this? Hold on, y'all. I'm having so many problems. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Is that right? Hold on, y'all. So the astrology of the Old Testament or lost word regained. Is that showing up backwards, y'all? Can y'all read this, or is it showing up backwards? Put a 1 in the comment section if the text looks backward, or if the text is showing normal and you can read it. Can you do that for me, Samuel? If you can read this, I just realized I can perfectly see that, and it's not backwards. It's not backwards, so it only looks backwards to me. So y'all can read it the way it's supposed to be written. It's not backwards. Put a 1 if it is not backwards, or if you can read it normal. Somebody put a 1 in the comment section, please. So anyway, if you want the book, okay, thank you. If you want the book, get the link out of my community post. All right? There are 3 books that we use for this class. There are 2 supplementals. The links for all 3 are there. Okay, thanks, Samuel. So where are we, y'all? Where are we? So y'all see these priests are handling Urim, Thummim, and Ephod. These are all zodiacal or astrological tools. Okay, y'all? Okay, so some perfect clairvoyants or trace mediums were found, viz. Dreamers of dreams. They were also called prophets and prophetesses. And presumably, when these had been particularly chosen for temple use and dedicated to the service of God. Now, I'm interested in knowing, is this injected, dedicated to the service of God? Is it injected? Or were they dedicated to the service or to the education, learning how the planetary bodies relate to each other, particularly the sun sun. So if y'all support my project to write the book of the law in ancient Ibaryath and modern English to restore the astrology, astronomy, the Hermetic Laws principles, and the constitutional principles that are derived from them, I'll have the time and means to figure this out and to be able to share it with you in writing. Y'all see what I mean? So were they in the quote-unquote temple or in the university studying the sun sun and studying how it relates to the other planetary bodies, their relationships and the geometry associated with that, and the known magnetic effects of that on weather, on climate, on psychology, on birth, all of that, right? Were they studying that? Or was this at a time when they had started worshiping external gods and looking, at animal livers, trying to tell the future based upon looking at an animal liver? Idolatry, perversion of science. Y'all hear me? So these are the kind of questions I can flesh out if y'all support that project. So my links to my, if y'all want to support it, you can do so on my Patreon or PayPal. The links, or on my website, the links are in the description area of the video. So this is a good example of that, okay? Anyway, let's continue. And presumably, when these had been particularly chosen for temple use, so that would be a university setting, right? So you're going to go get your PhD, or you're going to go do postdoctorate study and dedicate it to the service of God. Well, remember, we're talking about the S-U-N Son. They were deemed holy. Y'all know holy means sunny, right? While anyone outside the pale of the church, so now we're into religion, possessing the same gifts from the same spirit, was looked upon and condemned as a wizard or witch. Now, if y'all look up the meaning of wizard and witch, you're going to see that it means wise, a wise man or wise woman. All right? So we have to look these words. I know I said this a million times, but we've got to look these words up in more than one source. Yeah, Strong's is okay. Strong's, Brown Driver Briggs. Also look it up, the Latin meaning. Look up the Sanskrit meaning. Okay, if you can find the Kemet meaning, look it up in that too. Look it up in Greek. Okay, y'all? Look it up in Hindi. Look it up in Farsi or Persian. And see what you come up with. Put it all together, because we know the technique that they use. They pull in radicals from different languages and construct a word. The word can be constructed from radicals from 2, 3, 4 or more languages. Okay, now I'm putting y'all up on game. You didn't pay for anything. You're benefiting from my blood, sweat, and tears, my sacrifices to learn this information. Okay? But I can't make you do anything with it. All right, y'all? So here we are having people going, for example, in today's terminology, you go to college, you go to university, get your bachelor's degree, get your master's degree, get your PhD, you go back, do postdoc work. Okay, what are you doing? You're studying astronomy. You're studying law. You're studying mathematics. You're studying medicine, liberal arts. Okay? And you're said to be what? Holy. You're said to be enlightened, sunny. We get this from the devil's pulpit. Sonified, enlightened. And they turn that wonderful thing into something filthy. When I say they, I'm talking about the Catholic Church and all of the other religions. Huh? Now they're calling these people witches and wizards, and they need to burn at the stake. This is true history. This is real history. Right? Why? How can they do it? Because they made a claim. They made a claim that the Catholic Church, the Pope in particular, is here to manage the entire earth, all wombs, all resources, all forms of life until Jesus Christ comes back. The whole earth is under the Pope's management, including all of the political bodies, all of the bloodlines, all of the nations. And that these nations are beneath the Pope. So the Pope is the head man. And then the kings, the emperors, etc., are under the Pope's authority. And so what does the Pope do? The Pope makes the people submit, makes them passive, makes them accept the tyranny of the political governments using religion. Not only that, but the Pope, through religion, puts the people in a bondman status, a non-descendable status, makes them into slaves, bondmen and bondwomen. That's what's happening. You get this from the secret treaty of Verona. Okay? And because the Pope said so, based upon this toxic religious doctrine, Now these educated, learned men and women are branded as wizards and witches and deserving to be burned at the stake. That's true history. Just as Moses was held up to the Jews, well, actually Moses was not held up to the Jews, right? As one above all other men whom they should reverence as talking with God. So this whole thing conceptually is deceiving. Because there is no Odin or Woden at that time, right, y'all? God is the modern spelling of the dramatic deity Odin Woden. Okay, it's also, as we said, dog spelled backward. It's also Anubis, the Egyptian dog deity. It's also Sirius, the canine star, and a bunch of other stuff. It's an injected word. So just as Moses was held up to the Jews, Jew is a religion. Okay, according to the story, there was no religion involved at that time. It was just nationals. Just nationals. Autochthonous Moors. I ain't nothing to do with any religion. So just as Moses was held up to the Jews as one above all other men. Now, wait a minute. Let me go back to Sagittarius. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. The zodiacal sign Sagittarius in astrology signifies tallest among men, tall things in general, long things, signifies fond or dealing with horses, asses, pets, and javelins, guns, spears, pointed long things as pencils, pen, all sharp and pointed instruments, high places, upper chambers, or high above the ground, and highest peaks. Okay, so no, it's not. That's not Sagittarius. I was thinking it says here, I'll share with y'all my thought process. It says, just as Moses was held up to the Jews as above all other men. So higher than all other men. I was wondering if that was Sagittarius. But anyway, we could flush that out as we go. Let's continue. Whom they reverenced as talking with God. So all these men who talked with God, Moses was considered to be the highest ranking of those men who had talked to God. But the problem with this is that there is no external God. So who are they talking about, these men who had talked to God? They're talking about astrologers. They're talking about men who knew how to harness, process, and use magnetic or cosmic energy. Moses was the high of the high, the creme de creme, okay? That's what they're talking about. Now it continues. And that God was for them alone, and that the Son was for them alone, forgetting that God made the entire universe. Okay, so now y'all, we know that Odin, Woden, that this God didn't make the entire universe. We know that for a fact. Excuse me. We know it for the fact. And if you study this stuff out, hold on, I dropped my pen. Odin is supposed to be Thoth. Thoth, of course, didn't make the entire universe, right? All is mind. So forget about these external deities. The entire universe is thought. Okay, all material things are just thought, vibrating. Okay, the vibration of thought. So flesh, material things, we're of the lowest vibration. Everybody see that? Get rid of this notion of some external deity like a god creating no, it holds no water, not even in the Bible. Okay? So forgetting that God made the entire universe, and that Moses was only learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians. Now, isn't that interesting? The Egyptians got their knowledge from Abraham, or Abram rather. And then Moses went and learned everything that he learned that his forefather Abram taught the Egyptians. Everybody see that? And that if Moses did miracles, the soothsayers and magicians, that's the Hermetic magicians, did likewise with their enchantments. Now, this is religious language. That's religious language. How about this is what happened? Moses used his knowledge of nature and magnetism, or electromagnetism, and he did some things that to people who do not understand these sciences, it looks like magic. Okay? In the same way that if you get some people who know nothing about modern technology, if you show them a cell phone, they're going to think, wow. They're going to be blown away by it, right? They're going to be blown away by it. Now, are they going to fall down and start worshiping? Absolutely not. They're just going to be entertained, maybe even mesmerized by the cell phone. Because why? It's novel and new. Samuel Ponce writes, cavemen looking at big light. Yeah. Okay, so Moses went in there and he used his knowledge of magnetism, electromagnetism, and he did some things that other people would think was magic because they didn't have the scientific or technological know-how that Moses had. Now, it says here, therefore, he only conquered these wise men by being more scientific and having more knowledge than they had. So Moses conquered the Egyptian magicians not through some external God, but through his science. He had more technical knowledge. He was more technically advanced than the Egyptian magicians. Now, y'all have to remember, they're using religious words. They're using loaded words that puts you mentally in the realm of gods, devils, and demons. Okay, narrative transportation, controlling your mind through words. Okay? But no, it's no different. Listen, y'all, it's no different than let's say the U.S. going in with technically advanced military weaponry and overpowering another country that is not as technically advanced militarily as they are. It's just that's all it is. It's just technology. Samuel writes, controlling our thoughts with fear. Absolutely. Does everybody see? So this is what Moses was able to do. And this is why they don't teach you how to read. They don't teach you reading comprehension and linguistics. They make sure that they damage, injure your self-image, your self-confidence as much as possible to keep you from learning mathematics and becoming comfortable and good at it. Learning the sciences along with mathematics so that you can begin to what? Develop your own technologies and means to manufacture them. Okay, in other words, they're ensuring that they'll always have the technological advantage over you. See, this is the lesson in the Bible. He who has the greatest technological advantage shall win. And Moses did that. Okay? Now y'all probably never thought of it that way. But it is what it is. Let me ask y'all, why do you think the Western countries are ruling? This small percentage of people, hybrids, are ruling the masses. Not because they're smarter, because of the technology and the manufacturing capacity. Period. Period. And they are obsessed with ruling over us. See, that's the first thing. Okay, rule over us, how? Through technology and through brainwashing, through religion. But what is it for us? And I don't care what country the autochthonous Moor may come from. Usually what? It's religion, and then religion, and then religion. And then after religion, it's what? Entertainment. And survival. Our people don't care so much about rulership and becoming technically more advanced than those who have conquered us. This is why they keep you in religion. So you can keep saying, I'm gonna wait on God. And Jesus gonna come. The end is coming. I can't wait till God does this and does that. And it ain't never gonna happen. If 2,000 years later and you're still waiting, you're out of your mind. Or just a coward. How many of y'all gonna sit around and wait a year or 2 years on a woman to come back? Or wait a year or 2 years for your man to come back who left you, dogged you out? You know you wouldn't, right? You know it becomes clear that he or she ain't coming back. And if they did come back, would you want them? Right? Under the circumstances that they may have done you wrong. Okay? This alleged deity has left you to suffer in the street. Exposed to public shame. Don't answer none of your prayers. Don't return your text messages. Don't return your phone calls. Has all the money and power in the world, but won't give you none. Won't even return your phone call. Won't even answer your prayer. Embarrass you in front of your friends by being absent. Okay, this is what your deity does. Would you deal with a man or woman who played you like that? Right? Over time? No, you would not. You would say that that he or she is a terrible person. Ain't no good. But again, scholars, this has to do with the double and triple and quadruple meaning of these Bible verses. Okay? With this deity who don't give a damn about you. All right? So let's continue. I want to emphasize this. Forgetting that God made the entire universe and that Moses was only learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, all their technology. And that if Moses did miracles, the soothsayers and magicians, that's of Egypt, did likewise with their enchantments. Okay, so now y'all know that this is religious and magical language, not the language of science, okay? It's to put you in a religious paradigm. So you don't look at this in terms of science. Okay? So you don't look at it in terms of science, because when you look at this in terms of science, it changes the whole game. Samuel writes, controlling all thoughts with fear. Okay? When you look at it in terms of science and technology, it changes the whole game. All right? Now let's continue. The soothsayers and magicians of Egypt did likewise with their enchantments or with their technology. with their technology. Therefore, Moses only conquered the Egyptian wise men by being more scientific and having more knowledge than they had. And there's the key. There's the key. One of the keys to recovering your birthright. Okay? Being more scientific and having more knowledge. But Pharaoh, who was also scientific, was hard to convince. And not until Moses had calculated the season, listen, and not until Moses had calculated the season of change of monsoons. Well, how did he calculate it? Change of the season of monsoons. That's a natural phenomenon, right? Monsoons. So in other words, Moses was able to predict when the monsoons would occur. And not until Moses had calculated the season of change of monsoons at the quote-unquote crossing of the line. Now, that would be what? The equinoctial points, the crossing of the line. Either the sun is coming, rising, crossing. Let me rephrase that. Either the sun is passing over, crossing over the vernal equinox, or the sun is what? Crossing, crucifying, crossing below the autumn equinox. Moses calculated this. Moses calculated it. Using what? His knowledge of science. His knowledge of weather and climate. His knowledge of the configuration of the heavenly bodies and its relationship to the seasons and the magnetic effects that bring about monsoons. Y'all see it? Okay, now let's continue. And not until Moses had calculated the season of change of monsoons at the crossing of the line, or sun's ingress into Libra. So Moses calculated when the sun would cross below, or when the sun would be crucified at the fall or autumn equinox. Okay, y'all? Samuel writes, I could control a whole civilization if I knew when the full moon would come. Okay, y'all? Now, it says, or the sun's ingress into Libra. That's going to be around September 19th through the 22nd, right? So Moses calculated it down to the day and probably the hour. Samuel writes, solar eclipse. So let's go back to the text. Josephus expressly states that this crossing of the Red Sea to have taken place at the autumn equinox. There you go, y'all. All right? Takes place at the autumn equinox. This is the Red Sea. Also the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay, y'all? As before, described in the preceding chapter. Okay, so we went through this. And by trickery, look y'all, page 107, the author writes, and by trickery robbed the Egyptians of all their jewels. Isn't that interesting? It says, and by trickery robbed the Egyptians of all their jewels, by instructing the people to borrow their jewels, to borrow the jewels of their masters and mistresses for their feast days. Well, for their feast day, Feast of Unleavened Bread. And the swapping of the Egyptians at the bore, which took place at the change of the westerly monsoon to the easterly, which is cyclonic, which happens annually in the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Gulf with tremendous force and easily predicted astronomically for different latitudes. Y'all see? They're saying Moses used this science to drown Pharaoh and his armies. Not until Moses had done all this did Pharaoh let him go, simply because the tidal wave cut them off, and there was no means to catch them till they got safe into the fastness of the highlands. So now that's an obvious reference to Sagittarius, right? Highlands. Where Moses kept them 40 years, listen y'all, where Moses kept them 40 years till all the old fearful race of slaves, where all the old fearful race of Israelite slaves, slave mentality, Moors, slave mentality, Moors, had given place, in other words, they died off, to men inured to combat. So these are men who were born when they were in the wilderness. They're used to fighting. They're used to killing animals. Not only animal attacks, but killing just to survive. These were men who had no problem killing. Okay, these are men who had been born free. Y'all see y'all see the comparison? You Moors, born into slavery, you got that slave mentality. Huh? Moses kept the Israelites in the wilderness for 40 years until all y'all slave-minded people died off. Okay, you're useless. Absolutely useless. But instead of killing you off, Moses let you die off. And then your offspring, the ongoing next generation or generations, okay, they came up hard, fighting, killing animals, okay? Wasn't scared to fight, okay? These are men inured to combat with wild beasts of all descriptions and ready to fight for liberty. Y'all Moors hear me? Yet all this time Moses was very wise and kept the knowledge he possessed with his family and to their descendants forever. And the others were to support them. The elect were the priests, and they only. Now clearly we're talking about religion right here. We're talking about religion and some national stuff, and we need to flush this story out, right? So Samuel writes, so if someone knew when the Escheat sun and moon would align to form a solar eclipse back in those days, you could trick a civilian like the Mayan and the Aztecs. Well, it depends on your knowledge of the technology. So in this case, Moses wanted to use the monsoons. He wanted to use nature to fight for him. And he used nature because he had the scientific and technological know-how to calculate when these monsoons would come. So he would make sure that he was in the water and coming out of the water before that cyclone would hit. So he was able to calculate it right down to the hour or even to the minute and the second. So this has to do with planetary hours that I was talking about. That, you know, I'm going to do the video, put it on Patreon. This has to do with imbuing your goals, your objectives with cosmic energy to make them successful. So Moses was able to wipe out an entire army, Pharaoh's army. Through what? Through his scientific knowledge of nature, okay? Through his knowledge of nature. And that is our heritage. All we need to do is return to the Most High, start learning these sciences. We don't need their universities to teach us. We don't need them to teach us. All we need to do is start learning. Okay? But we see we see that the slave-minded Moor is no use to anybody, not even himself. Moses let them die off. When they got to the other side, that is. Moses let them die off. They're useless. Cowards. Cowards. Not useless as soldiers. Okay? Why? Because they had the slave mentality. Okay? But the new Moors, will be what? Combat ready, as it were, according to this story. Right? Samuel writes, so if someone knew I already read that. Yeah, Samuel, it just depends on the knowledge and technology, how well you plan. You need to know about planetary hours, the length of those hours, and then how to use that. It's called electoral astrology. How to use that to determine when you should do something. Okay, it's all based on science. No devils and demons. No gods and stuff like that. Okay, it's all about magnetic energy. Hold on. Okay, let's continue. Page 107. That the wisdom of Moses was astrological. Okay, so he's going to show us now that Moses' wisdom was astrological. So here's his case. Witness Moses' alteration of the beginning of the year. From the entrance of the Escheat sun in Aries, or right ascension of the meridian, from the first point of the R space A space M, right? Ascendant meridian. The feast days and festivals on the Escheat sun's changing signs and the new moons, the covenant of the Lamb, his knowledge of what is now called, listen y'all, his knowledge, Moses' knowledge of what is now called the Magellan Cloud. Moses knew about the Magellan Cloud, which, as every navigator knows, is a cloud by day and a pillar of fire or stars by night. Y'all got that? As many a shipmaster does today if his compass be deranged by any local deviation. What is he going to do? He's going to follow the stars. Compass, a pillar of fire by night, right? And a cloud by day. The making of the tabernacle and altar, the colors of the veils, the colors of the stones in the breastplate of judgment, the central place, or Holy of Holies, between Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, or the cherubim, are conclusive that the God ordained for worship by Moses was the same as known to Abram of Chaldea. In other words, they're using the same science, right? There is no God, capital G-O-D. We did that linguistically. That doesn't exist. They're talking about science, astrology, magnetism. And his divining rod or staff, that was probably some type of instrumentation, right? By which he was enabled to find water, shows his knowledge of magnetism. Y'all see that? Shows his knowledge of magnetism. Also original in Chaldea. I remember when I was a little boy, we used to find these sticks, right? We used to call it a wishbone, or we would use a wishbone chicken, the bone of a chicken. I don't remember what it was called, but we used to call it a wishbone. Wishbone. It was like this, or like this, right? Like a U and then here. And we would point it at the ground. I don't know where we learned that from. And we would point it at the ground. And many, many a times I found water. But not only me, other people did too. Found water. Okay? And that was the whole purpose for it. Then the Jewish candlestick is the exact symbol of the planetary system. The Jewish candlestick is the exact planetary system, all of which are directed by Moses. The legend or account of the flood originated with the Chaldeans. Now, y'all know the flood, that's actually the first verses of Genesis chapter 1. That is not a creation story. Watch the video I did, a critical analysis of Genesis chapter 1 and 2, something like that. Okay, that's not a creation story. Those first few verses, that's dealing with a flood. Okay? In fact, the 11th chapter of Genesis would confirm this belief, inasmuch as it commences with the building of the Tower of Babel, continues to the birth of Abram's departure from Ur of the Chaldeans. The 12th chapter shows Abram journeying through Canaan, or the valley of the Jordan, and staying there till a famine drove him into Egypt, and continues even to the same account given in Judith. In Josephus, we read the meanings of the veils of the temple. So here's keys to the mysteries that the author talked about on page 140, 104. Hold on, y'all. Okay, so in Josephus, we read the meaning of the veils of the temple, the breastplate of judgment, and all relating to the tabernacle of Moses and temple of Solomon, as purely astrological in meaning, or if it please you better, astronomical. Okay? If you don't like that word astrological, how about astronomical? They're synonymous. But it's an emotional thing with us when we see astrology and astronomy. Okay? That's what the author is talking about. I desire to add one more remark here in regard to the priestcraft. We read in Genesis XL, VII, Genesis 67, a full description of a most remarkable famine in Egypt, in which, now y'all listen to this. Listen to this. You Hebrew Israelites ain't gonna like this one. Y'all not gonna like this one. This on page 108. All y'all Hebrew Israelites, listen. A full description of the most remarkable famine in Egypt, in which, though corn grew when it was planted, okay, the Egyptians, the Israelites, they planted corn and it grew. Pharaoh, under the direction of Joseph, kept buying all obtainable and then selling just enough for seed for his people, barely to sustain on. Listen to what he just said. If you have any understanding of economics, you realize what he just said. Joseph told Pharaoh to buy up all the corn. Now what happens when somebody comes into the market and starts buying up everything? And their intention is to buy up all the corn. What's going to happen? Well, the law of supply and demand and price. You drive the price up. And now the demand, well, the supply is going to be low. So the price is going to increase. Why? Because Joseph told Pharaoh to buy up all the corn. What's this going to do to the common people? What's going to affect them first, right? Because Pharaoh, under Joseph's advice, is removing all of the corn, all of the supply from the market. So now the price is going to go up. Low supply, high price, right? High supply, low price. That's right, Samuel, he's going to starve them. Joseph is starving the people. Why? Why would Joseph starve the people? Why would he do that? What is this called? This is Joseph. We're talking about Jews, right? Now I know that the house of Yasharallah was never enslaved in Egypt. I know that. Okay, but let's let the story be told. We're dealing with religion. We're dealing with a make-believe story. Pharaoh, under the direction of Joseph, kept buying all obtainable corn and then selling just enough for seed for his people barely to subsist on. Then Joseph had gotten the people into such straits. They're so hungry and desperate, so broke, that they sold their cattle. Then they sold their rings, their jewelry, and money, and at last they sold their land and themselves to Pharaoh. They sold themselves into slavery, into bondage. Why? Why? Because they trusted Joseph and they trusted Pharaoh. They didn't think that they would take advantage of them. They trusted them as being experts who had their best interest in mind, the same way you trusted Dr. Fauci, the same way you trust the NIH, okay? The same way you trust the pharmaceutical companies, the same way you trust the financial system, the same way you trust the judicial system, and they have all led you into bondage. Following what? Following this example right out of the Bible. Following this example, they presented themselves as experts, as people you can trust and depend on. And these people in the story gave them full faith and credit, just like they're giving out candy. To their demise, sheep led to the slaughter. Y'all heard? Yes, also the WHO, the World Health Organization. Y'all trusted them. Have y'all been hearing about these studies showing how a lot of the physicians who took these jabs have come down with extremely aggressive forms of cancer and they're dying off? Have y'all heard about that? Samuel Ponce, right? I told the Most High to guide me and protect. Does that mean I asked my higher self? Absolutely. Absolutely. And everything that you ever attributed to a deity, you did it. Through what? Through your mind power. And everything that has ever happened to you has also been through what? Through your mind power. So everybody sees this. This is catastrophic. Given full faith and credit. Without having a reason to, or without researching what's the end goal of these people. No, you should trust yourself. Trust yourself and feed yourself. Why would you, think about that, y'all. They sold their corn to Pharaoh. And then Pharaoh, now the corn didn't stop growing. The corn was always growing. But they were selling it to Pharaoh, probably thinking that they were doing an act of nationalism or something like that. Okay, y'all? Y'all here? Who knows what their state of mind was? But Joseph and Pharaoh misled them. All right? Give me 1 second, y'all. Hold on. As a matter of fact, I got to go. We'll pick this up. My battery is just about out. Let me see. Do I got time? Let me just go through a little bit more. No, I can't. I might get stranded here. Islam to all the Moors. I got to run, y'all. I might get stranded. Thanks, everyone, for your support. Thanks for showing up, participating in this live stream, all of the great comments and all. Thanks for supporting my project to write the Book of the Law. I hope you all see the value in the Book of the Law with the religion removed from it and flushing all of this stuff out to show the astrology and astronomy, the natural law, natural phenomena, Hermetic laws, etc., constitutional. I hope y'all see the value of it. Y'all subscribe to 101 Ancient Ibaryath, my streaming course. Educate yourself. Come to Saturday's class, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't have to pay anything. If you want to enroll, of course, there's a small tuition, but it's very affordable. And y'all make sure y'all buy my books. I got links to my books in the description area of the video. But right now, y'all buy them on Amazon because I'm locked out on my website still. Okay, I'll be back live again in about 10 to 12 hours. About 10 hours. About, I think, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock y'all time on the Eastern Standard Time. About 10 hours, I'll be back. Okay, so I gotta run, y'all. My battery's almost out. I don't want to get stranded. Assalamu alaikum. Islam to all the Moors. I self-law am master. I'll see y'all in about 10 hours. Shalom.